Okay. Welcome to A Long and Long Time Ago with the cousins long. I'm Adam. Martyn's over there.
Oh, yeah. You're mixing
How was
it
that?
up this week.
Mixing it up. Too cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah, how are you anyway? All right?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Good.
Slightly bit under the weather this week, but nowhere near as bad as you were last week.
No, thankfully I'm feeling loads better. I've still got a little bit of a cold, but I've definitely got a lot more energy this week. Yeah, apologies for last week. I didn't do a whole lot, did I?
No, you weren't well, mate. You weren't.
I was struggling, but yeah, we got it out in the end. Anyway, so we're still talking about Andor. It was episode 5 this week. Episode 5?
Yeah, episode 5.
Yeah. The first week's thrown me where they chucked in 3 episodes, so it's kind of, yeah, it's all a bit weird. So episode 5, thoughts?
Yeah, well, a good thing to place to start, I guess, is I really enjoyed the episode, as I've done every single episode so far. As we've said before, it's a different kind of Star Wars, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, it really is.
But going back to what you just said about them releasing the first 3 episodes, I think I read somewhere that each there's 12 episodes in a season, and for each 3 episodes is an arc in the story. And I know obviously Disney Plus wouldn't do that because they need content to put out every week. But wouldn't it have been so much better if they'd put 3 episode blocks out each week? Because
not for us, but for the whole sort of context of being able to watch the arcs. Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
Yeah, because please don't get me wrong. I mean, I absolutely loved it. I think reasons for which we'll go into, but I think as a viewing experience, I think it would be great if you could sit and watch the 3-part arcs, and then the following week you'd be a bit more excited about where they're going to go with the next arc.
I think you're right, and I think that actually makes a lot of sense with how this episode was, because my opinion on it, I was going to say I enjoyed it, but it felt like lots was going on, but nothing was really happening. Does that make sense?
Yes, it was another episode, and I think I've said this before, where the chess pieces were being moved into position, ready for...
And everything's going to come to fruition next episode then.
Yes.
Episode 6, yeah. No, it should be interesting anyway. Yeah. So, but that was my overall thoughts on it. I was just sort of thinking, like you said, it's still very different. You could almost put that in a different sort of universe, if you're taking out the starships and whatnot, and you could call it something else. It almost isn't Star Wars. I was thinking that at the time, but then also, like, from time to time, I was thinking, oh, actually, do you know what? They've put Andor in an outfit not too dissimilar to what a Jedi might wear. Do you know what I mean? Like, his top was almost wrapped around like like how you'd see Luke or whatever in New Hope.
Yeah.
Am I right?
See that. Yeah, no, it bears a similarity, absolutely. But I think the storyline on Aldhani is really grey, isn't it? So everything's quite grey on the planet, even though there's a lot of green. You still, but then maybe that's the cinematography. I think the way it's filmed, it's got that grainy look.
Yeah. So obviously we get to see the Imperial base there, which is made to be grey in general. So
it's an Imperial base, which we've
seen
before. It's got all of the hallmarks of other Imperial establishments that we've seen in the past. But I did quite like the way they used the dam, though. I thought that was a clever use of set. Because it wasn't a set actually; it was a real. I believe I read it's a real dam up in Scotland somewhere.
Okay.
So yeah, that was really cool. So I mean, we might as well talk. There was so many, it sort of chopped around so many different places, didn't it? So maybe if we start with Aldhani, and things that we kind of got out of that. I guess it was preparation for the big heist that we're probably going to see in the next episode.
They went into it a little bit in the previous episode of what they were planning and everything. And there was a bit more of it in this, of him sort of bedding into the team.
Yeah.
Something I don't think we mentioned last week. He chose the name Clem, didn't he?
Yes.
Which was the guy who was on the ship when they saved him as a younger lad.
Yeah, I think we'll probably find that he was his foster father or
parent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll, go as far as to say he's already dead.
I think so. I think he did get mentioned that he was hung in the previous episode. I think.
Oh, really? Yeah.
He said to Luthen that he'd been hung.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Whether that was that guy. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
I wasn't quite with it last week, so
it's fair enough.
My memory's a bit hazy.
But I thought they did some really interesting stuff on the planet with the crew, if you like. I think that's the first time we've ever watched Star Wars where the hero of the series, Andor or Clem in this case, actually admits to the team that he's only there for the money.
Yeah.
He's obviously doesn't like the Empire, but essentially he's just there because
he's a hired hand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in that hero aspect that we usually get from the leads in Star Wars, it isn't there yet. So we're already seeing where Andor came from before he became the guy we saw in Rogue One. So I thought that was a brave and really good piece of dialogue they had up on the mountain as they were walking towards the base to do the heist. So that was fantastic. I felt every other character really of that crew is quite a rich character, all having their own reasons to be there.
Yeah. I will say I recognised Skeen this week. I was watching him and just thinking I know him from somewhere. Do you recognise him?
Which one is he? Sorry, there's so many names. Is he the young chap?
He's the one that's not a fan of Andor, the guy that puts the knife.
Right.
Did you recognise him?
No, I didn't know. Did you?
Have you seen Series 1 of Punisher?
Yes. Oh, the Netflix series.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
He's a microchip, I think his name was.
Oh, right. I don't remember.
Do you remember the guy with the beard, the one that Punisher helps out? The guy with the wife. No, you don't remember?
I remember. No.
But I was looking at him. I think I've seen him somewhere before, and I've watched Punisher a couple of times. But it was him. Very different character in this.
Yeah,
very different.
Yeah, so, but he was good though, wasn't he? I mean,
he was good. Yeah,
he had some great powerhouse scenes. And I love the scene where he told him about his brother, and that was his apology.
That's as close to an apology as you're going to get. Yeah,
that was excellent. Again, really well written. Really well written. There was a moment that one of my friends, Tom, texted me about, and I totally agreed with him. Where that TIE fighter came flying over them, and my friend Tom quite rightly put, he's never been so afraid of a TIE fighter in his life. And how many times have we seen TIE fighters before? It was just filmed brilliantly in the screech of the sound effect of the going over.
Proper little flyby, but close quarters.
That's right. Do you think? Do you think the because it's shot in kind of a grainy way, that the way the ships look on planet, it looks more realistic than perhaps it has done in the past? I don't know if that's just me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
We don't tend to see TIE fighters on planets, do we? I suppose it's usually up in space. But I think the overall look of the show is it's gorgeous. Absolutely,
it's
gorgeous.
Really good.
Yeah, just like Rogue One, I suppose. Which makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, moving on then, Coruscant. There was a hell of a lot going on there.
Yeah, there was a plethora, I suppose you could say, of storylines. I mean, there was Mon Mothma again. I thought that there was only in a couple of scenes, but they were quite good. There was the breakfast table scene with her husband and daughter.
All family woes, really, weren't they?
Absolutely. And God, I hate her husband. I hope he dies, but we'll come back to that. He needs to die. Because I already get the impression from that taxi scene that he's already spying on her for the Empire.
Possibly,
trying to find out things from her in that taxi ride. What that she hasn't told him about certain things. And I also got the.
Go on.
I also got the impression that she's not telling him everything because she knows that he's probably doing it.
She's onto him.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely a loveless marriage, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But also her daughter, do you think she was just being a typical teenager, or?
Well, yeah, yes, but I think jokingly in my head canon, I was thinking, well, she probably goes to an imperial school, so she's been indoctrinated that way by the Empire. But probably more likely for storyline reasons is Mon Mothma's obviously so careful not to let anybody know what she's doing in terms of organizing the rebellion, that she's become estranged from her daughter, and her daughter just simply thinks that she's not interested in her. When obviously that's not the case. It's probably just the case she's trying to protect her from what she's doing in case she gets found out, and the Empire probably would do the same to her as Mon Mothma if she was captured. Yeah. So that, I mean, there wasn't too much there, was there? But they were kind of again setting the chess pieces, I think, for things to come again in the next episode or two.
Yeah, definitely. And as I said, not a whole lot going on. Like, they're not letting a lot of information out, even to the viewer at home, really. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I was sat there like, I don't know what's going on, really.
No, there was a mention of her, and her husband said that she started was it a foundation? I can't remember. Some sort of charitable foundation she'd set up.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that's probably going to be some way of funneling money to the rebel cause, that somehow, that that we might find out in the future. So there were certainly things you could have a sort of a guess at from those two very short scenes, but no, there wasn't too much more than that.
No. So moving on from this, but staying on Coruscant, it was Cyril, who I didn't know his name until this week. I'd just forgotten it. But yeah, Cyril, the former cop, if you like.
Yeah.
So him discussing his future with his mother, which again, she called his uncle, but we don't really know anything about him either, do we?
No, I think she said his name.
Do you speculate, or Uncle Gordo or something like that? But I can't really remember.
Yeah, it's not a name I've ever heard before.
No. But we're just trying to I was speculating as to what he might be, planning to do, because he said about looking in higher places or something, aiming high. I think it might have been what he said. But does that mean his uncle might be working for the Imperial, higher class Imperial people?
He's high up in the Empire.
I
think you're probably right. I think that it's one of two options: either he's high up in the Empire and she's trying to
that's how I should have said it, high up in the Empire, and I'm there stumbling over Imperial people.
So she's possibly trying to get him a high position in the Empire through her uncle. That's one option, but I think generally that, though I might be completely wrong, but I get the impression that those scenes were to show that he's got a mother who's disappointed in him, and he's not achieved what she wants him to achieve, and she's going to try and get all of these jobs for him to get so that she can once say that she's proud of him. But I think more likely, and again, I might be wrong, but I think more likely from that scene we saw right at the end where he was just looking at the picture of Andor, that he's got unfinished business there. And
definitely.
Perhaps he'll say no to whatever this job may be.
Go rogue.
Go rogue, but possibly I think there's a chance that Deirdre Meera, I think her name was, the Imperial ISB agent. The
blonde one.
The blonde one, yeah. She'll seek him out, or he'll seek her out, because they're kind of both trying to, from different directions, come to some sort of I don't know, conclusion as to what's happening out there with the stolen merchandise. And without knowing it, they're both looking at the same thing. So I think more likely they'll probably end up teaming up together and trying to find Andor to get some answers. I mean, again. Not too much to the scenes really, other than the fact that my mum's really disappointed in me, and but him feeling like he's, I don't know, never going to be good enough whatever he does. You know, whatever she tries to get him to do, whatever he tries to do, it's never going to be good enough regardless. So again, more character development in these scenes than anything else, than actually story development, which is fine. You know, that's not a big deal. It'll just hit harder when the future episodes come along.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what was next then?
There was another Coruscant storyline. Again, this was with Deirdre Miro, and I think it was just the one scene where, again, I keep repeating myself, setting things up for her still on the hunt for why all these stolen Imperial items are ending up from all over the galaxy and ending up, you know, trying to be sold. She sees a pattern in it.
Trying to piece the puzzle together, really.
Yeah, trying to piece the puzzle together, perfect. And she doesn't realize it yet, but as viewers, we know she's on the verge of finding some networks to how the rebellion's probably being funded, or the rebel cells are being funded. So I think you know, we're probably going to definitely get more into that as the future episodes come along, and her rivalry with the other ISB agent that she
Blevin.
Levin, yeah, she lost the battle to the previous week.
He was he was another character actually that I recognised this week. I hadn't noticed before. He's actually a stand-up comedian called Doc Brown.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Real name's Ben Bailey Smith, I think. Yeah, I knew him from Taskmaster.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you've watched Taskmaster at all, but yeah, he's on there, which I thought was quite interesting. I didn't know he'd gone into acting or anything like that. So, yeah. I recognised his voice, and I was like, "I'm not." And then,
I was going off on a massive tangent. Something I just watched it before I came on to do the podcast. Have you been watching that series on Disney Plus called Welcome to Wrexham, which is the story of Ryan Reynolds?
No, that is Rob a big tangent.
McElhenney. Well, they bought Wrexham Football Club, and there's a documentary on Disney Plus about it. And the most recent episode I just watched was a guy filming an audition for himself for the Obi-Wan series.
Oh, right.
And basically the audition was just walking as if you were solemnly walking in a parade, and that's all he had to do. And then it was hilarious watching him do it several times, and then, that's not good enough, and then refilming it. And then just as the credits were about to hit, a little caption came up saying he didn't get the part.
Shocker. Yeah. That's interesting. Sorry. That is quite a tangent.
Yeah, so that is a tangent. So the only reason I mentioned this is because it just popped in my mind from Disney. So sorry.
No,
sorry.
Fair enough.
On track.
Star Wars related. It was Star Wars related, yeah. If nothing else. Yeah. Okay, so where were we from there then?
There was
Coruscant, or?
Yeah, we were still on Coruscant. One more Coruscant storyline, and this one was very short, and it was the final scene of the episode.
Right. Yeah.
And it was Luthen in his antique store. Or Easter Egg Emporium, which which I thought was great, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
Worrying about obviously the mission that's about to kick off.
Yeah, and not hearing anything. So
exactly, and him being told just it's going to happen regardless.
Yeah. So I thought that might have been his assistant, but she spoke to him in such a sort of manner that it was almost like she was, I don't know, she's like
in charge,
in control, really. Yeah.
I thought exactly the same thing. I thought the way she spoke to him was, stop worrying about it. How about doing some work, for the shop?
Yeah, I wonder if he's maybe the face of the whole operation, and then she might be the brains or something. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, no, possibility. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a new Luthen, because we hadn't seen him like that. We've seen him confident,
exactly, yeah,
in charge, and all of a sudden he was sort of a shadow of himself. So that was very interesting. And the final, again, it was a single scene. The final place we visited was Ferrix again, which was the planet that we saw in the first 3 episodes that Andor was on,
where he lived.
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
And yes, and there was the ISB agent, the guy you were just talking about. So what was his name again?
Blevin.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. There's so many names.
Yeah,
I'm starting to get.
There are so many characters in this series. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a few now, but there was basically just the Imperial setting up a base or a garrison of some sort on the planet due to the fact that they'd lost the police department or whatever it was, had lost control of the system. So again, that was a total setup for the next few episodes.
So, like I said, do you think we'll see more of those characters? And it looks like we might see
definitely.
Bix, I think it was, and a couple of the others. I imagine they'll be interrogated some over the next possibly next few episodes.
Definitely, I think we're probably looking at the next 3-part arc, perhaps. Of what of the series. So yeah, but that's definitely a setup for the next episode. And I thought it was quite an amusing scene where he asked if he could give himself a title, and he says, "I don't mind if you wear a ball gown or something like that, as long as you get this base set up." Yeah, I thought that was quite an amusing scene. But it goes to show the Empire. They don't, they're all about how they look and what positions they hold, and they don't really think about the big picture, a lot of them. So again, I think that was character development.
Their downfall as well, really, isn't it?
Exactly. So I think that's possibly, again, hints to what we'll see in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was all of the places we visited, and I have to say, I know not a lot happened. It wasn't action packed, but I really, really enjoyed it. And when it finished, I was like, I want another episode.
But that's just the thing, isn't it? I think that's what I said last week, is that nothing's really happening, but they're obviously building to something that we just really want to see. And I said last week I was looking forward to this week's episode, and nothing really happened in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
And that's obviously being saved up for the next episode.
Yes, I agree. But when things happen, it'll probably hit harder because of the character development. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of that, then, speaking of all this character development that they're doing, we're going to do a little thing whether we think they're going to live or die, seeing as Rogue One ended in such a way that, a lot of people couldn't predict it beforehand. When I suggested this over message, you actually said they're all going to die.
Yeah, with the exception of Mon Mothma and Andor.
Yeah, you think they're all going to die. Yeah. So I was going to just say, at this point then, are they going to make it to Series 2?
Okay.
We'll go through it, shall we? Because I think if we go Luthen first.
Okay. I think he will die by the end of season 1.
Do you? See, I think he's going to make it to season 2.
Okay. Yeah. I think he'll pass the reins over to Andor by the end of the season, so Andor will be in a more of a
power position.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Imperials then. We'll just do the ones that we've seen in today's episode, shall we? Meera.
Yes, I think she'll make it. I think she's been built up to become a main villain for next season. So I think
I have to agree with you there. I think for the same reasons. What about Blevin then? Our new friend Blevin.
I think he will die by the end of season 1, and it'll be Meera who pulls the trigger.
It's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. Cyril then. Cyril Khan, is it?
Yeah. He's a tough one. He's a really good actor, and I really like what he's doing. So I think this is going to be a hope more than a guess. I think he'll survive. I think possibly we could see him in the Empire by season 2 because of the things he's going to do.
This is it. I think he's going to become one of the main antagonists. So, yeah, I think so.
Yep, survive.
Going on to the crew then. This one's going to be tricky because you probably will struggle to remember some of their names.
Yeah, I'm a nightmare with the names.
So Vel, I've looked it all up before. Before we started. So
she's the leader, isn't she?
Vel is the leader, yeah.
Okay. Survive.
Oh, okay.
That's a tough one. I'm going to say survive.
Well, she's got a few more episodes in her. So her and Cinta, it seems, aren't doing they aren't a part of the plan of what we're likely to see in the next episode, are they? So they'll survive the next couple of episodes, I think.
Well, she did say that we'd see you tomorrow night, so they're going to be some part of it, but we don't know what yet.
Not the first, not the first part. So Vel, I think. What did you say? She'll survive.
I think she'll survive till the end of season 1.
I don't know if she will. I'm going to say no.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Skeen. Your man from Punisher.
I think he will sacrifice himself to save Andor, so dead.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
See, I was thinking that they're building him up to be like the bad guy of that group, if you like, and he doesn't like Andor or whatever. So I was thinking he'll die, but I think he might make series 1. I think he might make it.
Actually, now come to think of it, he could be a double agent who's actually really with the Empire.
Oh God. Don't start putting double agents into this.
So I don't know, but I'm going to stick with dead. I'm not going to change.
Okay, I think he'll make it.
Okay.
Nemec, I think's the younger lad.
Oh, he's got dead written all over him.
Yeah, he really has, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he might not make it through the next episode, to be honest.
No, I can see him falling down the mountain on the way.
You don't even think he's going to make it to the mission. Oh dear. Fair enough. Tamarin's the guy that's now in charge, took over from Vel.
Okay.
He seems like he could hold his own.
Yeah, and also I might say he survives, or I don't know, or dies. I'm gonna say he's a traitor. He's actually on the Empire side.
Not another one.
And he survives, but he survives the next episode, but they get him eventually, so dead before season 1.
Dead before the end of season 1. Yeah, I'm going to go with dead before the end of season 1. I didn't say Cinta, did I? Cinta.
She was the other
lady, yeah.
Oh, well, because I think she's the love interest of Vel. If you're a love interest in Star Wars, it rarely goes well for you. So I'm going to say dead.
I think she'll survive. I said Vel would survive, didn't I? No, did you? Yeah, I did say Vel would survive. I think Vel and Cinta will survive.
Okay.
They'll make it to series 2, okay. I think. And finally, I think his name's Lieutenant Gorn.
Lieutenant Gorn.
He's the guy undercover in the Empire.
Oh, yes.
Part of the crew.
I think dead. I think again he'll sacrifice himself.
Oh yeah, I don't think he can survive, to be honest.
No, I don't either. It's a shame because he's really good character.
I think he'll get caught double crossing the Empire.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
Okay, you're gonna have to put. You do realize now.
I'm going to put
all the pictures up.
Anyone listening, you're just going to have to.
Yeah, and then when one of us says dead or alive, you have to put dead in front of the picture.
I'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Okay, what have we got left then? Easter eggs? You got any Easter eggs for us?
Yep. I'll fly through these. Okay. There was lots of names read out of planets. There was Fondor, which is a planet in Star Wars known for its orbital shipyards.
Okay. Have we seen it before?
It's not been seen in. It's been seen in Battlefront 2, the game, and I believe it's expanded universe or legends as they call it now. But I think because it's mentioned now in this, it becomes canon. We got the mention of Jakku, obviously from
that's Rey's home planet.
Yep,
is that right?
Yep. Yeah. We got Hosnian Prime, which is obviously the planet that gets destroyed by Starkiller Base in Force Awakens, which was the new home planet of the New Republic. We also get Kessel mentioned, which obviously we've seen in Solo, the Clone Wars, and in the New Hope. Yep. And then Easter eggs in the distance, flying towards the base as the crew are all walking to do the heist. We saw a Lambda class shuttle, which is the 3-pronged Imperial shuttle.
That's behind. Nice. I like that one.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite ships in Star Wars. Yeah. Behind Luthen, we saw Sith and Jedi holocrons, which which they did look rather large for Jedi and Sith holocrons. So I'm not sure whether they were actually real Jedi or Sith holocrons. So I'm sure Palpatine won't be too happy if he found those. Just to the right of those, there was 2 Shankara stones, which were from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Which is brilliant. I think we saw those last week as well.
Yeah,
we got better picture of them this week.
Yeah.
Cyril had blue milk on his cereal. How weird seeing cereal in Star Wars.
Yeah, that's one thing actually I was going to say about this series. It does seem to sort of almost veer away from Star Wars and be a bit more closer to Earth sort of stylings, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the reason is
like that.
I agree. I think that's because they're showing ground level things that we don't normally see. The chumps of the universe, if you like, the lower classes. Sorry, I should say,
like Earthlings.
Yes, us mere mortal Earthlings. There were on the kitchen table when they were having breakfast. There was Melu fruit, which is a fruit you see in Rebels, the cartoon animated series, I should say. Sorry,
spiky looking fruit.
That's right. Yeah,
right.
And the last thing I saw was in Cyril's bedroom when he's just staring at I think it's the Andor hologram. They looked like, and they're not focused. They're sort of blurry in the background, but it looked like there was 2 action figures / models of clones from obviously the Clone War era. So that was quite cool. I hope we see those again, but in better definition, because it's quite funny to think that they all have Star Wars rooms as well.
Yeah. And speaking of, as we've got a couple of minutes left, any new additions?
I do have some new additions this week. I got an Umbara clone trooper, one part of the vintage collection. And I've done a couple of pre-orders this week for some new figures that have come up for pre-order, but I'm still waiting for my auction wins to come in. So hopefully I'll have those soon. But we'll do an episode on, perhaps a whole episode on new pickups, because they're coming in fast. and many.
I feel like the shelves have actually stocked up even more since the last time I saw that backdrop.
Yeah, we've had discussions offline about how I can possibly get more in this room, and unless I start hanging them,
you probably won't get them in the shop, but
no.
Yeah, it's good. It's all good.
Yeah, but so next week, hopefully, we'll have a pretty action-packed episode to talk about. The heist.
Yeah, it's exciting. I am looking forward to next week's episode.
Cool. Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, good. I think that's it for this week then.
I think so.
Cool. Yeah. Like and subscribe as always. If you have any comments that we didn't mention, like Easter eggs or anything like that, just leave it in the comments section below. If you're listening, rate and review, and go onto the YouTube channel to leave your comments in the comments section below, because you can't do that otherwise. Otherwise, we'll catch you all next week. Take it easy.
Bye.
See you later.